everybody, and welcome to Spirituality Gone Wild, Cielo Spiritual Foundation. I am Debbie G, and this is Michelle G.
Hello, everyone. So excited to do something together. This is great.
Yeah, tonight's going to be a really great night. We're going to be talking about all things abundance with one of the most extraordinary gentlemen we have brought on in a very, very long time, all the way from Thailand. He's super exciting, super innovative, with techniques that are going to be super easy peasy for you to implement in your life to have the life that you want. And that's really the most important thing, is that you're living the life that you want. But really quick, I'm going to hand this over to Michelle, and she's going to take us all through a quick meditation while our audience is loading. Please put your questions right into the chat to let us know where you're tuning in from. In the meantime, let's listen to Michelle take us right into this beautiful space of gratitude.
Beautiful. Thank you, Debbie G. So, as she said, I am Michelle G, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear more about this exciting new book James wrote. But let's start now with taking a deep breath in, feeling yourself with life force energy love. And as you close your eyes, just drop down into your bliss. And just feel into the moment of now. Again, bringing in oxygen. Feel that beautiful oxygen regenerating, rejuvenating every cell of your being. There you go. Feel yourself drop down into a grounded and centered in your loving space. Thank you for taking a minute to meditate together.
Thank you, thank you, thank you all who have joined us. Please put your questions into the chat. And without further ado, we are bringing on James Uberti. Is that correct? Did I say that right, Michelle?
Yes,
Uberti?
James Uberti. He
Mag-
is author of several books and
yes.
an incredible nutritionist and dietitian, and just a really incredible counselor, mentor. He's been a lot of things to a lot of people, but it's always in alignment with lifting your vibration. He even has a podcast show, High Vibration, and so much more he can share with us tonight about.
I'm totally stoked about this. Tonight, we're going to learn all about your daily habits to feel wealthy and live your best life now, which I'm super excited about because, that's really what we're all looking to do, is live your best life now.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the stage. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about my book. I'm real excited too. You guys are exciting. I love it. Let's get excited.
Let's get excited. Seriously. Ooh, let's get excited. I'm going to get excited because you talk about being magnetic. And
Right.
when I think of magnetic, I think of, something we're attracting and how exciting that is. But the thing is that you've really taken this to a deeper level. And what I want to know is, what sparked G-Vibe? What was it that said, that's it. That's my spark. That's my vibe.
Right. Well, Aristotle said it best. He said, it is often in our darkest moments that we focus to see the light. So when you think about that, you think about, well, how did I start this magnetic journey? It was the pandemic that set it off. Before the pandemic, I was a hero, and then the pandemic struck and became a zero because I lost my businesses. I lost everything. I became in debt, the tune of 6 figures. I'd lost, I was facing eviction. And although I was wealthy on the outside, I still felt empty. And the reason why I felt empty, because I felt like I didn't have enough or was enough, even though I was making a lot of money. And that comes down to one thing. Society often, we work on our internal wealth and our external wealth. There's a difference, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So when we focus on our external wealth, it's fleeting. It's not fulfilling, right? And so what the pandemic taught me is I lost everything and I cut everything off. I cut my electricity, my cable, everything. And the only thing that I was left with was my cell phone and my depression, because this was during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
The future was unknown. And here I am in my late 50s, facing the fear of starting over again, with nothing, with all this debt. And it was depressing. And what did you have for entertainment? Food. That's why so many people gain weight, because there was nothing to do.
Yeah.
And I was one of those victims. And I would lay in bed because I cut my cable, as I said, and I would scroll through TikTok and YouTube. And I was scrolling through, I landed on algorithms for some reason, I don't know. And again, my belief back then was life just happens to you and you deal with it, right? And later on in life, I felt that you are the creator, the director, the actor of your own life. You don't like your life, you rewrite your script. Now, I heard that as one of the TikToks. And at that time, it resonated with me, but only negatively, because I was like, yeah, give me a break, right? That you can think money and it shows up. You can think success, you can think love and it shows up. And I was like, yeah, no, right? And so I had to make a decision. I was super depressed. And, I didn't have great thoughts about the future, as most millions of Americans had. And so I had to make a decision at that time, get busy living or get busy dying. And I said, you know what? Even though I don't believe that you can think, grow rich, think and become rich, I said, I'm going to put 110%. I have no other choice. I need to make this happen.
Okay.
And so, to answer your question, that was the impetus. That was the spark for me to start practicing, mindset practices as well as affirmation therapy. And I started to apply that. And things started to change. And I started to see results. And I was like, what? And often I would say, did I make that happen or did that just happen? Right?
I love that. Yeah.
Right. And I was kind of baffled a little bit, and I really chalked it up for coincidence back then, because that was my belief that life just happens to you.
I mean, James, it's because like what I'm hearing is that you really kind of set out to prove it a little bit wrong.
Right. Well,
you had no choice. But
I would also add that God's, coincidence is God's way of being anonymous.
Oh, right. I love that. That's hot. That's love it.
Yeah,
you know what, James? Good. This is rock star. How many of you out there? I'm sure that you're resonating with this, James. I resonate with this. I had to start all over again completely, and I understand that it was this sort of let go, this sort of
good word.
And this sort of understanding that it was time to go in a different direction, and that mindset. Everything was so vital at that point. But I think that you're telling a story for all of us that we've all been in. Michele faced some of that too during the pandemic. This was a really 100%. Tough time. But it was also a time it was one of the massive resets and upgrades for humanity, for us to be taking a step forward and into that dynamic, beautiful space that we're all in today, which is so exciting. And you show up now, you are an expert in the field, which I totally appreciate. And, rather than us spend a terrible lot of time talking about your background or how you got here, let's start sparking everybody else's G vibes, because we've got questions already pouring in. And if that's okay with you, we'll just take a dive in.
Sure. Absolutely.
Cool. What do you say, Michele?
So, I can't wait to hear what people have to share and say. I want to add that, when I was reading about the author in the book, James, it was really moving for me to basically be looking at our history together unfolding on paper. I've read countless spiritual books, having gone to school for spiritual psychology. But when you read a friend's book where they're telling the story and you were right there witnessing it, and I'm so honored that I got to watch your transformation, because you have grown leaps and bounds, James, and you continue to. And I love having friends like you and Jebby in that way, that watch inspire each other and to see each other grow. We're in our 50s, and it's just like, honestly, like when you started talking about going to Thailand, I was like, well, that's like kind of a stretch. You really think you want to, like, literally? And you were just like, okay, I want you to watch these videos. Like, let's see it. I want you to visualize this. I'm
Mm,
visualizing Thailand. I'm visualizing, we like watch this stuff happening. And I'm like, I mean, I believe in visualization, but it was really radical to walk that process with you and watch you move to Thailand and make that incredible life change to a different country and a different part of the world where some people don't even speak English, for gosh sakes. As I know, I was
right.
last March this time, I was with you in Thailand and having to go to my phone to talk to people because not a lot of people speak the language. And it was just, and we have videos, Debbie, of, touring the most magical spiritual places. And, but this new book is,
I was watching.
this new book is this new book is a whole nother level,
Right.
and honestly, like, also like the exercises, there's stuff we did together, so it's like he's not making this stuff up. Like, we were doing it and playing with it together while we were, before in Thailand already. And the exercises were so fun to read because I was like, oh my gosh, this shit really works. I mean, I'm so excited for my clients now,
Absolutely.
and it's easy to integrate. It's fun to do. And I have to say, one of the things I love the most about you is your childlike nature, and your want always to be imaginative and like visualize things outside the box. So like, this is growth. This is good. I see Jessica's name come up. It's enough out of me. You know how much I love you. You know how much I support you. I just want to put it out there, to others. It's wonderful to create, a network of friends that, you get to grow and learn and love.
Right,
So thank you.
absolutely. But before we step into some questions, if I can just kind of preface it on what I learned and how I started this journey.
Yes.
And one of the things that I learned by scrolling through and learning from other manifestation coaches is that the key or the missing puzzle to the manifestation was not thinking of positive thoughts. I want love, I want money, I want these things. It was the feeling.
Yes.
And what you feel, you become. It's the currency that you use to accelerate the law of attraction. It's not thinking. And the reason for that, what I learned earlier, is that the average person has about 50,000 thoughts a day. Mm-hmm. And of those thoughts, most of them, unfortunately, are negative, self-deprecating, and self-sabotaging thoughts, right? It's the negative Nancy in our head. And we're battling that every single day. And that's normal, that's healthy. And the reason why that's healthy is because it's predisposed. It's basically our hunter-gatherer ancestors of survival. It's our DNA. They actually have a phrase for it. It's called a negative bias. And unfortunately, our mindset hasn't evolved to modern technologies and conveniences and all the blessings that surround us right now. So one of the things that you do, and again, one of the questions that you're going to raise, and I've had this come up, is how do we break bad habits and create new habits? Because look, Aristotle said it best. He says, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. I'm going to say that again. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. Your habits are everything. They propel you to success, or they sabotage you every step of the way. And so in this book, I teach you how to develop habits to live your life, not waiting for something or someone before we can start feeling rich, happy, loved, and abundant. Mm-hmm. How do we feel that now? Because as I said, that's the currency that you use to pay for accelerating what you want to attract in your life. And once you feel it, you become it. It becomes real. It's exciting that you can walk through your life and live as though you're a millionaire, heck, a billionaire. And so what I was doing early on is, because of that premise that I learned it's your feelings, I started experimenting. And Michele, you know this, you were involved in this. And I would go out of my way and experience, how do I go out and feel rich right now, right? I was experimenting and writing down feelings, thoughts from taking an ordinary situation, a routine, and turning into an opportunity to be extraordinary, where I can literally imagine myself in the shoes of a millionaire and a billionaire and have that same feeling. Mm-hmm. And every time that I have a feeling, and this is part of developing a habit, every time you feel, you make a deposit, right? Into attracting and using your currency to actually attract more of the things that you want. And you know, Debbie, the importance of gratitude. It is everything. It's the holy grail of, you know, turning a negative into a positive. And how do we develop those little microscopic gratitude habits? And I'm going to talk about that in chapter 3. But let's go ahead and take some of those questions.
I want to just like surmise that, like I'm hearing you, and it's like, what I embody creates my new character. As I embody those feelings and actually actualize it and manifest with it, it actually, that's that becomes who I be. Like how I show up is my character, not what we think. Sometimes our thoughts becomes it, but if I can take right actions into whatever it is I want to be about, then that is what's so, like, you know.
100%.
Totally dig it. That's it,
And
girl.
so one of the things that I learned is how to become magnetic. And that's the key, right? Because there was a study that I was doing in my book on researching. It said from an MIT scientist on that each one of us has an aura, that we have a frequency that leaves our body, and it comes from our heart, our chakra of our heart, right? Mm-hmm. And they measured this vibration, this frequency, this aura, and it extends 150 feet from our body, right? Now, we know this feeling, and we can detect it with other people when they enter a room. It's called the it factor, right? Someone has it, and most celebrities have it, things like that. And often this aura is our essence of how we attract the things in our life. How we feel is what we become. And that's the key, right? And we're going to talk a little bit on how do I feel? How do I become magnetic? And once you become magnetic, you become a super attractor. And that's the key of living a successful life, is no matter how much money is in your bank account, how many struggles you have, you can live the life that you love, not tomorrow, not waiting for someone winning the lottery or something else to happen before you can start feeling fulfilled, loved, and blessed. Mm-hmm. You can do it right now. And so that's what Magnetic Habits is all about, is teaching you tiny little steps that you can implement to feel rich right now.
Watch out, love that. Tiny little steps.
Tiny.
It's tiny little itty bitty baby. You know, it's just little
accumulated into a way of life, a way of being.
Yeah. Right. I mean, what do they say? If you read, let's just say if you read 10 pages a day every day for a year, I mean, that's a lot of pages. It's a lot of books, you know, and it adds up super quick. So I love talking about micro habits and all of the things that you're talking about and being magnetic. And I remember, you know, with gratitude being the fuel, it's the thing that it's the essence of, if you can be happy where you're sitting and you don't need the wind to happen to win, then within that space, that's where the growth, that's that spark, that's their essence. That's where you grow from there. When you can just, you know, you can wake up and look around, and I just pretend walked outside.
Love that. Yeah,
and put my feet into the sand, smell the ocean waves. But, you know, we're going to take a dive into some questions right now. And I'm going to go ahead and actually play the ones that we have queued up that people have ready for you. And we'll start there. Audience, type any questions you have into the chat for anybody, for Michelle, for James. And here we go.
Hi, James. It's Allie here, just looking through your book, Magnetic Habits, and how to unleash your magnetic power to attract a life you'll love faster. A couple questions I had going out are, what are 3 examples of how to break bad habits? I know I'm terribly good at making habits, but how do I break those bad habits that have already occurred? And then what are 3 good habits for success? What are 3 things, you know, as I turn over and I move on to my next chapter, that I can look forward to for applying these habits to my success? And then the third thing, what are 3 things can I do to unlock my magnetic power? Those interest me as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say on Wednesday, and we'll look forward to the podcast. Thanks.
Thank you, Allie.
Awesome questions. So a lot of questions.
Lot of
So
questions.
let's address, how to break bad habits and create new ones. And we talked a little bit about, tiny little steps. But there are three key factors. The first factor is you have to be committed, you have to be consistent, and you have to be more willing to step into developing this habit than you are and stepping back on living that old life, right, of sabotage. So when I say microscopic challenges and things that you want to do to take it to the next level, is you have to be committed and consistent. What that means is saying, you know what, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? And I want change. Well, how do you change? Well, in my book, I lay out the steps. Now, these are habits to break and new habits to develop. So the best way to do that, as I said, is take little steps on improving yourself, on your self-worth, as well as, thinking, okay, what can I do today? A tiny little thing. First thing to do is make your bed, right? It's a developing habit that's been proven that those people who start with making their bed are 5 times more likely to become successful in their life, or developing other little habits. Now, it depends on what your bad habit is on how to break it. For me, I had a sweet tooth, right? And so how do I break my bad habit of eating candy and junk food? Well, I have to decide that that's really bad for me. I want to change, for one. Then you have to make a decision and look for healthier swaps, right? And so instead of the sweet cakes and candies, I swapped out to fruit, right? Little baby steps, but I still got my fix. I still got my sugar high. And then I took it a step further and I said, well, I'm going to start making my own desserts.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
Healthy,
Yes.
single ingredient desserts. Like my big thing was ice cream. I loved it, but ice cream is so laden with preservatives, emulsifiers, stabilizers. It's so much junk in it. In fact, today's ice cream doesn't even melt. It's because they've got so much junk in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would find ways, and again, AI is upon us, and there's many different ideas that you can use depending on the habit that you want to work on. Allie, is you type in how to break this habit, and you will come up with so many great things that can help you specifically deal with that habit. Now, with that,
can I just interject? I think there was a time where you did consulting for people that want to. I know you did actually help me get on board with intermittent fasting. I know you helped me with some recipes, one of which I just thought of when you were talking about all that was banana, whipped cream, cinnamon, and blending it in the blender. And it was like ice cream. It was so
heaven,
decadent, you guys.
right?
It was like, and guilt-free because you're eating all this delicious nutrients that is so enriching your body. You can feel the lift from it. So it's not just an oral fixation. It is an all embodying like lift of knowing that magnesium from the banana, like the cinnamon, and all of it is so good. So, teaching that can be not just an AI because that's so boring, but maybe like you or a consultant that can be there and walk with you through it, or journal, right?
100%. Yeah. So another thing is that I wrote, as you said, many books. One of them is a 500-page book on how to lose weight and feel great. Mm-hmm. But what I found, and that was written in 2015, and what I found was, it's a lot of work, right, to develop these healthy habits, to lose weight, feel great, reverse disease, diabetes, all those things. And then I said, well, what if I create a single habit, one simple habit that you can do every single day that gives you all the things that this 500-page book did? And that was my latest book that I just released a couple months ago, called Count Chemicals, Not Calories.
Loved it.
And so what I teach people is it all starts at the point of purchase, and that it's the chemicals not only in our foods, but the chemicals in our personal care and our cleaning supplies that we bring into our home that is causing us to be fat, sick, and tired. And so when you make that one habit of no matter what you purchase, you stop, you think, is there another alternative that's healthier? It doesn't have to be organic, plant-based. It just has to be less toxic, less chemicals. And it's easy to develop that particular habit. So again, it determines on the type of habit that you want to work on, but you take baby steps, you swap out bad things for good things, and you stay consistent, and you be committed to make little teeny steps along the way. And over time, you will find yourself not even giving it a second thought. It becomes automatic. And the other questions that you had, Ali, was what are the three things that are most important to changing and being strategic on developing habits to attract success, love, and abundance? So you're asking me out of the 132 habits that I created in the book to choose three. That's like trying to choose three of my favorite kids. Right? But I'll give you the top two. How's that? So the top two, the first one is a habit that I developed when I had post-eviction. I was evicted. I had sold or gave away a lot of my stuff. Thank you, Michelle, for buying my stuff.
That was fun.
No, but it was, like I said, I had hit rock bottom. I had lost my job. I was in debt. I basically was staying at a friend's house in a second bedroom for free, thank God. And my car transmission went out. And talk about, the blank hitting a fan at that point in time. Like I said, Aristotle said it best. You don't see your brightest stars until your darkest moment. I was desperate. And so I was walking a lot. And one of the practices that I developed is that I learned from scrolling through and learning along the way was to be grateful for what you have, not for what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took that and I said, you know what, I'm going to do an experiment. And that experiment, even though I'd only had 2 boxes of all my possessions out of a big house, car, everything, I started saying, okay, I'm just going to reflect on all the things that I have and take it down to a microscopic level. I'm talking, I was counting the pair of socks, underwear. I was talking the shirt on my back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry?
I say, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was listing out all the things that I either owned, had access to, or were convenience that were bringing me the luxury that I had, like air conditioning, right? Ketchup bottle, toothpaste, toothbrush, underarm deodorant, personal care products, sheets on my bed. I was naming out every single thing. And what I would say is 2 powerful words: thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, thank you. It took me over an hour to list out all these things that I had access to or I owned. And at the end of that, I felt empowered. I felt inspired. And also I felt rich, even though I was poor. And that feeling is the feeling, as I said, that you become what you feel. And when you feel grateful. And so that practice is habit number 16. It's called microscopic gratitude. And that's sitting down where you are right now on your couch. And I want you to look around and start naming all the things that are surrounding you that bring you convenience that you own or have access to, and just say thank you. And the more times you practice that little teeny habit, the more time you say that. Every time I take a shower, I have warm water, I say thank you. Every time I put toothpaste on my toothbrush, I say thank you. Even flushing the toilet, I say thank you. In the late
Could I just stop you? I have to tell you this. I'm not sure if you're actually aware of this. And clearly I've studied a lot on spiritual wording, but thank you put together, those 2 words, so simply, are that's the most spiritual thing you could say. And I do remind people that, all the time, but I found that so fascinating because it's just like so basic, right? But yet it's exactly, I can see why it worked for you, James, because that's a known fact that if you just to say thank you is hugely spiritual.
It's very powerful, very, very powerful. In fact, you want to attract more green lights, parking spots. Every time you find one, you say thank you, right? Everything that happens that's positive, like I even say thank you when I remember things that I forgot where I put them. I say thank you. So every day, not practice this every day. I'm talking every hour of every day, every minute. And when you do this is when you start making those deposits and paying that currency to accelerate the law of attraction, to feel blessed, abundant, right now, right here, you are rich. And as I was saying, if you have a toilet, and this was during the research that I did, there are 2.5 billion people on this planet that don't have access to running water, that they have to walk 7 miles to get water, or they have to dig a ditch to take a dump. Now, we take that for granted, or we don't see it because it's something that is, right? We just consider it our right, our birthright. But if you really think about it, late 1800s, early 1900s, when you had a toilet, there was a reason why they called it the porcelain throne, right? It was a throne. It was only reserved to royalty. So again, microscopic gratitude is taking the smallest blessings. I call it putting on your gratitude glasses and practicing and focusing on all the blessings that surround you, and get in that little tiny habit of saying thank you, thank you, thank you. When you say thank you, you throw out what this thing I call, and I coined this phrase, it's the boomerang gratitude, or gratitude boomerang. Every time you throw out thank you, what do you get back? The same thing. What we think, over time we attract, but what we feel, we become, and we become a super attractor. So there you go, Ali. So those are the things that I would answer. And the other thing is, when you want a positive outcome to happen to you, get in a habit, and Michele, you do this through your meditation practice, and I want you to take a deep breath and say, I am magnetic. I am magnetic. And I want you to visualize a parking spot, whatever it is that you want. You're on a date, you want to be magnetic, I am magnetic. You want a job interview to go amazing your way, you want anything, you get pulled over by the police, I'm magnetic. And people pick up on that, right? Your vibrational field of everything happens, and you're going to start feeling that aura. You're going to start becoming magnetic, where people actually pick up and start laying the red carpet down for you, right? Because you feel like everything goes your way. Whereas when you feel that everything doesn't go your way, you start to see the weeds instead of the flowers, right? And it's a part of our brain that's called our reticular activation system. When we focus on gratitude, we see more flowers than we see weeds, right? It's a part of the brain that's focused down in your brainstem that allows you to focus on the things that you are, your experiences that you've had, the trauma, your personality, the people you surround yourself on is what you focus on. When you start saying thank you and practice gratitude and saying I'm magnetic, things start to shift. You start to see opportunities you normally didn't see. You start to attract money that you didn't normally see. When I was walking, I was saying I'm a money magnet. And I would walk everywhere and I would start seeing money everywhere on the ground. People laid dimes, nickel. I would pick them up over the course of 3 months. I collected $12. I didn't see money before, right? I'm not saying that it's a practice and a principle that works to become a super attractor. So those are the things. I'll give you one example of applying that in my life. Just recently.
Well, we're going to do that real quick, but
okay.
We have to take just a real quick break. Go ahead and type any questions you've got into the chat. I just want to take a moment and recognize Michele Garcia, the founder of Cielo Spiritual Foundation. And I'm going to play just a real quick snippet, just so you all can remember who Michele is.
Welcome to Cielo Sober Living, a spiritual haven in Coachella Valley, featuring 12-step work, sound bath meditation, conscious recovery meetings, and other holistic practices to build a strong foundation. Michele Garcia brings value to the program with a holistic approach. She guides and supports residents with care and dedication. Meals are provided, and dinner is shared together each night. Experience a safe and nurturing environment that fosters growth and healing. To learn more about our transformative offerings at cielosoberliving.com or call 877-394-8355.
And I want to thank Michele for all she does in the Coachella Valley. Seriously, it's amazing. So if you all didn't know, now you do. And if you ever need her services, please reach out. And, James, I love all of the things you're talking about because, you're taking me back to those moments when everything was stripped away completely. I don't have anything from my past before the pandemic. It's all gone, everything. And, there's that moment where my son and I are here where it wouldn't be what mattered became only who was breathing. And that gratitude for him, my gratitude for you, for Michele right now, for the reminder of how important it is as a human being to just take a moment and recognize the brilliance of your life, you know, and who you are.
Mm. You are a walking, talking, freaking miracle.
Completely.
Really.
I swear to God.
When you think about it, there was a stat that I came across that said the odds of you being born and experiencing life is 400 trillion to 1.
Seriously.
And if you think about it, how did that happen? 400 trillion. Well, that means that the planets had aligned perfectly. The Earth had to form. The Moon had to create a gravitational perfection, right?
Yeah.
Everything to the T. And in addition to that, think about your parents, your grandparents, everyone down the line, all the way down to our hunter-gatherer ancestors that had to meet perfectly, that had to procreate perfectly. To put those odds in perspective, you would have to win the lottery literally 10 times in a row, not the state lottery, but the mega lottery, to have that same amount of odds. So the reason and the purpose of the book is to live your life, this gift that you were giving, and live it in a way that you love it so much that you don't have to stress about money or love or abundance. It's all here. It's all here to claim it right now. And the steps in the book teach you how to actually claim it, feel it, and become it, and live your best life now.
I love that. And by the way, for everybody's ease of use, the link is in the chat on all social medias, all 8 platforms that you're watching on right now. And as soon as I can bring up the book cover, I will, which I do have loaded. Here we go. Here we are, everybody. So magnetic habits, which keeps covering James up. I'm so sorry. We keep covering you up.
Oh my gosh, that's fine. I love it.
Just keep hiding you.
It's much better looking than I am.
I don't know about that. Unleash your magnetic power to attract a life you'll love faster. And you're talking about my favorite subject. I mean, appreciation, gratitude, going into that space. It's brilliant. But you were going to share a story.
Yep.
Before I cut you off to talk about our beautiful Michele and her gorgeous.
Yes.
She still does.
Beautiful.
She's so stinking cute.
So in the book, I lay out these habits that when put into practice, you start to become magnetic. And as I said, one of the key principles that I told Allie in her question is always say that you're magnetic when you want something to go your way, no matter what it is, everything, anything, right? And so the other day I was at the DMV and there's a 2-hour wait, right? And I thought, I took a deep breath and I visualized me being in and out very quickly. And I said, I am magnetic. And there's where you take a number, you wait for your number to be called, and it's hours, as you know. And I don't condone cutting in line. I'm just doing this for experimental purposes, okay? I was just seeing if this would work. And I do this every single day. And it's amazing how many times I say, stop it. No way, that just happened, right? Like when I find a parking spot, I say I'm magnetic, I visualize that parking spot, a green light, whatever it is that I want to get out of or get into very quickly. And more often than not, I say, get out of here. Did I do that? Right? And the more you say I'm magnetic, the more it happens. It becomes real. Your brain starts to take notice when you feel that, right? Plasticity.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. It's called neuroplasticity. Every time you say thank you, you're rewiring your reality, right? Every time you're grateful for toothpaste, toothbrush, air conditioning, you want to be grateful for air conditioning, turn it off for 2 hours in 120-degree weather, right?
Kidding.
Like I did. And you'll feel rich when it comes back on. The air smells different. So be grateful for everything and go into that practice. So I see an opening at the window and I just walk up and I didn't say a thing. And the person looked at me and said, have a seat. And I'm like, okay. And I was in and out in 5 minutes. And I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff works. And here's why it's magnetic by saying this. And here's why it works. Every time you say that, you start building up your level of confidence, right? That things do go your way, that you are a magnet, that you are blessed, that you are the chosen one, right? And the other thing that happens, as I talked about earlier, is your aura, right? Your vibrational frequency that you radiate. People pick up on that. So they picked up on, this person is a VIP, this person is special, I'm going to treat him. I'm not even going to question whether or not he has a number. So it's very, very powerful. And then when you start putting that into practice, then you become the level that I'm at, which you're a super attractor, where not all the time, but most of the time that you want things and you want to attract things, you want to live your best life now, it starts to happen and people treat you differently. It's amazing. In fact, I have a friend who was the first one that ordered my book, and I get so many texts from him. I get so thrilled on saying all the things that he's getting VIP access to, of the best hotels. He's traveling here in Thailand, and he gets access to the front of the line, and people are treating him like a VIP, even though he's not rich, right? It's that aura, it's that magnetic ability for you to attract the life that you love and to feel rich right now without having to wait to win the lottery. So that's what the book is all about. I'm really excited to share those stories. So.
I think it's awesome. Joe, thank you. He says, I'm magnetic. What a great tool. It is a really cool tool. I dig it.
It is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful.
We can all resonate. We can all resonate with that. And so it's been well established. The gratitude works. Dr. Robert Emmons has done 30 some odd years of research out of UC Davis regarding gratitude. And there's actual scientific proof why it works, everybody. And people that actually practice gratitude have 15% less heart attacks, go figure. They also live more productive, happier lives. They have more joy. It's just a fact. When you're doing this, the byproduct of this type of a micro practice that you're talking about is living in joy. It happens. It sneaks up on you. Gratitude's kind of sneaky like that too. Just kind of gets on in there.
Yeah, I'd love to add to that. So
Yes.
you know how if someone gives you a compliment and says, you're a great writer, they are literally giving you a blessing. And you, as a receiver, if you say thank you and you take it, you are allowing them the honor of receiving in the energy exchange of that blessing. If you, for example, said, no, I'm just a beginner, I'm not that good. Well, that's also, not in your humility, because we're not better than we're not less. So you just say, yes, thank you. Just receive it, because you're saying no is not giving them the blessing. So, or you're just saying you don't know what you're talking about. They're only mirroring like the good in them, and you to them and them to you. We're all just like mirrors, and we're all just, interconnected collectively in this positive, uplifting vibration of receiving and giving and gratitude. There's no way we won't feel uplifted and vibrate on high frequency and just enjoy life much more.
100%.
That was brilliant. I love that. The way that she said that was so, I'm going to pull it back out, and then James, you can supercharge it. And that was
We'll supercharge that.
Supercharge
what
that.
are fun for?
Absolutely.
Supercharged twins.
So
That's
you
what
get
Michelle
this,
is.
so you get this a compliment, like she said, and you're not willing to receive it. So you're stealing the blessing from somebody, or somebody gives you your gift and you're not wanting to receive it. And so you're stealing the blessing from them. And that's what you're saying is what I caught the essence of that. And it's so true. So we think that we're just being, no, what you're being is selfish and ridiculous and robbing somebody of their. I am so hard. I am so fucking hard. Just stupid. But it's just serious. But I mean, I just really thought that was awesome the way you brought that up.
I love you.
Let's supercharge the blessings. Supercharge those blessings that are coming.
Well, let's supercharge it. So. I talk about that in magnetic habit number 23, and that's paying it forward, or gratitude, right? Yeah. And helping and giving. The power of giving is very powerful. In fact, in the research that I've done, when you give, you get a level of dopamine and serotonin. So does the receiver. They both get equal amounts. Here's where it's magnetic. Anybody that witnesses a kind act actually receives the same amount of dopamine just by simply witnessing it, that act of kindness.
Oh my God,
So
that's rad.
I practice giving out here because there's a lot of poverty here, and I love it because it's, people are struggling, and when you give, you send a signal to your subconscious and also the universe that says you have more than enough. Now, you don't have to give money. You can give your time or a compliment. You want to put this on steroids? We have this thing called social media, right? You want to spread that good vibration. You simply, as I said, it doesn't require money. You can send a text to a friend every single day. I'm proud of you. I love you. You're the best. So that exchange, but take it to the next level. When you go on social media and you give a kind word or a quote that raises someone's vibration, something thankful, you have the opportunity to spread good vibrations to potentially hundreds, if not thousands, millions of people.
I like that.
So when you spread that, you're putting that on steroids. And again, you're telling the universe that you have more than enough. So it takes you from a position of lack, which often everyone has a position of lack, struggle, and stress. The book teaches you how to come from and feel abundant, feel blessed, feel loved, not yesterday, but today. And when you do that, you start to become a super attractor.
Love it. So you reminded
good.
me of Thailand when I was there. Because our money is worth so much more, like 10 times more there. And I would tip people just whatever, and they would be like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so." Like, I guess there was a time where you don't even tip there, and it's so regular. It's such a custom for Americans to do that everywhere, like in restaurants and such.
Right.
And I was just so lit from people's gratitude. I mean,
Good word.
people take it for granted in LA. They're like, get mad if you don't even tip them enough and stuff. But boy, in Thailand, I felt like so much love. I was just like, I just, it just feels, it's so contagious, right?
It is. So
right?
talking about,
It was
right,
easy
so
to do. I tried to bring that back here as much as I can, but I'm glad you brought up different ways you can do it besides just money. There, it's easy to do with money because our money's worth so much. But you're right. There's a multitude of ways we can come up with giving. Giving is not
right.
like I think I'm abundant in a multitude of ways, and you and I talk about that a lot. Like prosperous in a lot of ways than other than just cash money.
100%. So it leads me, and it thought about Allie's third question. And that was the one thing on a strategy that I use in a book: be careful on what you say. And the reason on be careful of what you say, not only to yourself, we work on that through the book on your internal dialogue, going from negative to positive and how to structure that. But here's the thing. I talk about your tongue is a magic wand. And when you think about that, I see so many people struggling and they say, I can't afford, or I'm broke, or that's too much, or I can't, or I won't. So when you say those things, it actually is casting a spell and seeding your subconscious, as well as sabotaging the law of attraction.
Love it.
By saying those words. So try to get in the habit, a little habit of holding your tongue and reframing it and saying, instead of saying I can't afford it, I choose not to invest at this time. Right?
Thank you.
So choose other words that you can say and bite your tongue like it's your life, right? Because those words mean something. And I'll give you an example. There was an experiment done by Dr. Emoto, and it was called the ice crystal experiment. I don't know if it sounds like not in your head that you know about this.
I sure do. Yeah.
So Dr. Emoto was a scientist, and he wanted to find out the power of our words and what frequency is all about. And so what he did is he would pour water into a certain number of cups, and he would label those cups love, hate, frustration, and all the emotions that we have. And he would say words to that cup of water. There you go. Oh my gosh, that's perfect.
I love it. My
You're
cousin
good.
did this with a plant, 2
Right,
plants.
exactly. So what he did is he spoke the words which on the cup, he froze the cup, and he evaluated under a microscope, what the ice crystals look like. Our
Mhm.
words are so powerful. What you just showed was words of I love or I love you. Beautiful, symmetrical, right? Whereas words of frustration, hate, disdain, those were morphed out, disoriented,
Cancerous
ugly,
looking.
right?
Cancerous looking. Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a practice
Yeah.
because 90 something or 70 to 90% of your body is made of water, and water holds a frequency, right?
6%, yes.
And one of the practices that I talk about, and I know this sounds woo woo, but it kind of works. When you take water, for an example, this, and you say to it, I love you, right? I care for you, I love you, I love you. And then you drink that water. You're drinking that vibrational frequency of love. And you saw what it did to the ice crystals, right? So if you want health, if you want internal wealth, again, when you focus on your eternal wealth, and you will achieve wealth, whether it be, abundance or $1 billion, whatever it is that you feel will make you feel happy and wealthy. But the key is when we work on our external things and we put value in those things, they're often fleeting, right? They only last a small time. In my research, I found that most millionaires and billionaires are not very happy. They're depressed. And I'm thinking, how can you be depressed, dude? You got $100 million. If I had your money, I would be celebrating every day, right? But there's a reason for it, because they didn't work on their internal wealth. See, money makes you 10 times of what you already are now, right? If you're giving, if you're grateful, if you worked on your mindset of your internal wealth of gratitude and abundance and love, then you will be 10 times of a giver, 10 times of a lover, 10 times of an appreciator, 10 times of a super attractor. But when you focus on and put value, which our society brainwashes us to think that happiness comes from a Mercedes or a Lamborghini, right? It's often fleeting because it's called retail therapy resistance. And what that means is when the average person, and there was a research study that was done, someone that actually were at the poverty level that go from $0 to 50,000, their level of happiness was off the charts, right? Someone going from 50,000 to 500,000 was very minuscule. It's very small. And so the reason for that is because you condition, just like taking drugs or alcohol, you build up a resistance. You need more dopamine, you need more drugs, right? And so these millionaires and billionaires did not work on their internal happiness or their wealth. So the book teaches you how to develop that, how to attract it, and how to live your best life now. And so by focusing on that, I mean, it's very fleeting because look, the multimillionaire billionaire calls his assistant and says, yeah, I want a new pair of shoes. And they go out and buy 7 different colors, pairs, brings them home, puts it in their huge walk-in closet, and they just put it on like they're changing their underwear. Whereas when the other day, I bought a new pair of socks, a new pair of shoes, and I bought some sweatpants, and I looked down at my legs and I was like, I am so freaking rich right now. And I was like,
I can't.
my feeling that I have, how do you get any different than what a millionaire would look at right now? I mean, I had Nikes on, of course, there were probably copies, but it didn't matter. I felt it, right?
That's what.
So
Yeah.
the key is, getting that feeling of, the small little gifts that we can magnify, not only our feeling of abundance, but magnify our power of abundance.
I love that.
I want to add to that. I was reflecting that, a lot of the people that win the lottery end up, committing suicide. And
Yes.
I feel strongly that it's because a lot of it comes with great responsibility. And if, you don't earn the responsibility, sometimes it comes with manifesting whatever it is we do take into our lives, be it money, be it, equity, be it whatever. We're not ready or mature spiritually to get with the responsibility that comes with it, because it's not just about, the experience of gratitude for what we have, but it's like taking on and how much of this responsibility of even having a lot of things do I want to have, and then discerning, you know what I mean, at that point, if it isn't, or if it isn't something you want, not just to have more cumulative, because that can be a problem. When I
Oh my
recreated my
gosh.
life, which
Yes.
I could expound on that. So just one more thing, and I definitely want to hear what you had to think about that. But when I've recreated my life several times, and each time, like this last time when I came from LA to the desert, I had treatments, and we all have our stories. But, one thing I love about life, it's like when these things get taken, as a lot of that did with you in COVID, it's like you got a new canvas to start a new project. Like when everything gets taken away like that, it's just an opportunity to have a new blank canvas, like an artist, and go, okay, well, what's this new chapter going to look like? And, I didn't exactly want this chapter to go this way, but God had its plan. And so here we go, because sometimes it's hard to let go of stuff. Like I want to hold on to my cryotherapy machines that nobody wants to go to
Right.
in COVID. I'm sorry, James. And like I want to have all these things, but it's like, no, you get to release them and have a whole new life, that you would not have really released if, we weren't forced to. But, so also it's just like, okay, what's God's plan? And that's why meditating on things before we buy, or putting it on hold, the pause button becomes so incredibly important. But having less things, and my stuff was in my father's, and came out with like just a suitcase of clothes. And if anybody knows me, I love fashion. I even had a fashion store. That is ridiculous to have so little, but it was the biggest blessing, because I had less things to manage, so that I could just go about recreating my life. Like it frees up a lot more room. So
Doesn't it
sometimes
though?
having less things really allows you to, and it was just fun just having not much to worry about, while I just created a whole nother chapter. And
Right.
I don't know, food for
Well,
So
that's
thought.
just hot. That's just
no,
freaking hot right there. That's
no,
awesome.
you're
God, I love
very,
that.
it's absolutely true what you're saying. In fact, in researching the rich on why they're depressed and unsatisfied, is because the more things that you buy, the more things that you have, that saying, more money, more problems. You ever hear that?
Can be, yes.
So
Well,
here's
yes.
the thing, and here's why they were stressed and depressed, is because in the research that I did, the more stuff you own, right, the more that you're connected with that energy-wise, right? So you have a yacht, you have multiple homes, you have cars, you have boats, you have all these things, employees that you have to manage, like you said, Michele. And this attachment is stressful because, did I make the boat payment? Is someone going to steal it? Who's using it, right? Is my pools, the 2 pools that I have, going to get cleaned on time for my party? So it introduces so many opportunities for you to stress out and depress over the more stuff you have. And there was a podcast that I listened to that I actually featured on my podcast about minimalism and the practice of minimalism, how it frees yourself up. And yes, when I lost everything, you're right, it frees you and it enlightens you and empowers you with less stress, less stuff. So again, it's not external things that make us happy. It's the internal blessings and the gratitude for what we have now. I've lost a lot of money, a lot, millions of dollars. And when you reflect on, oh my gosh, I lost this, you get depressed. But focus on what you have right now and magnify that so much so that you are so blessed, so rich. You have a toilet, you have hot water. One of my habits I talk about, and I discovered this when I was taking a shower. Now, I'm certainly not a billionaire or millionaire, but I was taking a shower and I was closing my eyes, and the warmth on that water in that shower, and I'm like, what I'm experiencing right now is no different than what a millionaire and billionaire would experience. So I made a deposit in that currency bank to accelerate the law of attraction of this feeling of abundance. So I teach you how to take ordinary situations and turn them into extraordinary opportunities for you to feel wealthy by changing your perspective, using your imagination, and taking action is the key, right? So one of the habits in the book I talk about is self-care and taking yourself on a date, not with someone, but yourself. And I do this once a week. And in the morning, I wake up with that pillow to pillow productivity habit that I talk about in the book. I do things. I do self-care. I eat healthy. I meditate. I do all the things that make me happy, whatever it is. And I take myself out on a date. And I keep saying as I'm walking and going through, I say, I'm magnetic. I'm magnetic. So one example of saying magnetic is I was walking down the street and it was an outside restaurant. There were a bunch of people outside and I'm magnetic. And I sat down on the VIP seat right out there where I could people watch the best. And I sit down, no problem, right? They didn't say, okay, this is reserved or whatever, even though it might have been reserved. So saying that magnetic, I am, and feeling that, they picked up on my aura that I was important, I was abundant, I was wealthy, right? My mindset. And as I'm practicing I'm magnetic, right in front of me, this big mob of people come by. It was the richest actor in India. And all these people around him, and they were filming a movie right in front of where I was sitting, and I'm going, get out. So this just amplified my self-date. Like it was entertaining for myself, and it showed up right in front of me. Now, did I make that happen, or did that just happen? Right? So that's the question that you're going to answer or ask yourself constantly when you start to develop these habits and put them into practice. Practice microscopic gratitude. Say that you're magnetic everywhere, anytime that you go everywhere, and develop these habits. You're going to live a life that you're like, and you're going to say my most favorite word, wow.
I know.
I like that.
Wow.
Let go of the how and get ready for the wow.
Wow.
Let go of the how, get ready for the wow. You guys, this is again the book, Magnetic Habits. Unleash your magnetic power to attract a life you'll love faster. And you can find the link in the description as well as the chat. If you're watching this on the replay, which you probably are, please still continue to type your questions into the chat because we will hit them next week. Not even a thing. We did not get to Jessica's question. Or yes, we did.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
No, we didn't.
Well, I answered her question, even though, we covered a lot. So she had pretty much similar questions of what I answered. So we can either play it and regurgitate it, or we can move on.
I'll tell you what, I will play it because we are at the top of the hour. So I'll go ahead and play it, and we'll quickly each run over it.
Perfect.
Here we go.
Hi, James. It's Jessica here with your book. Absolutely love this book. I came up with 3 questions that I'd like to ask you. The first one is, what is your favorite tool for inspiration in life to be happy? Wow. 2, what inspires you in your personal life? 3, what person in your life inspired you to become motivated to help others?
That's great, Jessica. So what the best thing you read in the book?
Then I read the back of the book too, and where it says that you give the you give affirmations. It says, or repeating affirmations. Do you find that when you repeat affirmations to yourself that it helps your self-esteem and your self-confidence? Repeating the self-affirmations.
And then, what did you relate to, or what was something that was attractive about your reading to you?
Just basically how spiritual he is, and how I didn't read all of it. I just came up with the questions, skimming through it.
Yeah.
But those are the 3 questions I came up with.
And did you think it's a book that you could actually?
I think practical? I can because I can read this kind of book definitely, because it's not a hard read. It's a very easy read.
Yeah. That's nice.
So I really like that about this book, and I think that you have a lot to offer and very inspirational, and I wanted to thank you, and I am going to actually read this book.
And you're going to be on the pod?
I'll be
listen to the live stream on Wednesday?
Listen to the live stream on Wednesday.
Wednesday night, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Inspiring interviews. Yay.
Okay, perfect.
Cielo Spiritual Foundation on YouTube. You'll see it.
Yes.
Love you.
Thank you, Jessica.
Great questions. So let's answer the last one and work our way up. So do affirmations work to help build your self-esteem? And yes, but what I found is affirmations are hard because we're competing with so many negative thoughts, right? And so our subconscious has a bias to run automatically. 85 to 90% of all our thoughts and habits are automatic. And during the day, your subconscious and your brain is so busy processing that when you say affirmations, they're good, but they're not heard. So the best way to empower affirmations is to feel them. Is your feelings and your emotions are the key. As I said, what you feel, you become. It becomes real and becomes heard, right? Because our feelings are powerful. As I talked about that aura that we have around us, our thoughts are discounted. Our thoughts are not heard. And so, yes, saying affirmations are important, but the key is to amplify that, magnify it, and make it magnetic and feel whatever it is that affirmation is, right? Whatever it is that you want to attract. If you want to say, I am love, or I want to be loved, feel love, right? In fact, put it into action. I'm going to give you 2 examples that I thought were interesting. Someone actually wanted to manifest a vacation. They didn't have any money and they were poor. And so they really wanted to go to a place, a destination. And so what they did is they took action and they bought a rollaway carry luggage thing, and they would carry it with it empty around with them.
No way.
And so they put that into action, and guess what? Things started to show up. Opportunities started to display because their belief, their feeling was that they were on vacation. Mm-hmm. The other person wanted a horse, a prized horse. And so they bought a horse bridle, a saddle of a horse, put it in their bedroom and looked at it every single day. And there's countless stories of taking action and feeling it into existence. Again, it's not thoughts, it's not affirmation. The other question was, who inspires me for the motivation? Now, of course, I did a lot of research and writing, and there's a lot of great, manifesting coaches, Brian Tracy, Earl Nightingale, Tony Robbins. There's a ton of them. And the one thing that I love is that I pick up something, but I make it my own, right?
I love that. That's so cool.
And the most inspiring person is not someone else. It's you, Jessica. You are the most inspiring person, because if you can take these habits and start saying, I'm grateful and thankful every moment, every hour, every day, you will inspire yourself. You will become your greatest coach. You will become your greatest victor, and you will become a super attractor. Mm-hmm. And so the first question was, what's the most powerful aspects and strategies that I can implement? And we talked a little bit about those. And that was, like I said, microscopic gratitude every day, every minute. I mean, get granular, put those glasses on and start doing that little teeny work, and you'll be amazed on the dividends that it pays. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, I am magnetic. Everywhere you go, everything that you want to go your way, no matter what it is, start practicing, start experimenting, start developing the habits in my book. For example, you want to feel wealthy and attract wealth, if that's your goal, start acting it, start feeling it, buy a bridle, buy a suitcase, right? One of the things that I talk about, and this was as I was struggling, I didn't have any money, I would experiment, how do I feel rich? And in the book, in one of the chapters, I talk about how to feel rich now, and these are the habits that you can put into place and practice that strategize certain things, like save up enough money. You don't have to spend enough money, right? You don't have enough. You don't need enough. And save up enough money, go on a solo date, dress to the nines like you're rich before you take yourself out. Mm-hmm. Order an Uber, right? Save your money once a week, once a month, once a year, whatever it is that you can afford. And I want you to visualize that you're a millionaire, a billionaire. You're sitting back, you have your private driver, he's taking you to a restaurant. Now, you don't have to eat at the restaurant. You can make a healthy meal at home, right? Nourish your body, save money, and then just go for the dessert, because it's your emotions, right?
I love it.
It's
yeah.
senses. In sales, when I was going through sales courses and stuff, when I was early in my career as a sales technologist, they teach me to always bring chocolate to my customers. And the reason why chocolate was so important is because it's Pavlovian. It stimulates a sensory, a feeling. When you touch sweets, you think my sales rep, right? So it was sneaky, but it works. That's how powerful sensations and emotions are, right?
Yeah.
And so when you order that dessert, you're dressed to the nines. I want you to feel that embodiment of wealth. I want you to feel like a millionaire. Heck, I want you to feel like a billionaire, because you're feeling no different than what a billionaire would feel. Sit down, close your eyes, and really marinate on the flavor of the tiramisu or the white chocolate truffle or whatever it is that you're ordering. And then I want you to say, wow, what I'm experiencing right now is no different than I had $100 billion or $0 in my bank account. That feeling that you pay those deposits into your frequency that you use to accelerate the law of attraction. The more that you do that, the more that you feel it, the more that you become it, the more that you start to attract it. Over time, you live a life that you absolutely love without a doubt. It doesn't matter if you get your $1 million. What matters is living in the present. And talking about the present in gratitude, and I'll leave with this and I'll end with this because I don't know how much time we have. But my late mother, she was amazing. And I wrote books about her and dedicated books. And one of the things she said to me when I was young is she said, son, she goes, the key to living a life that you love is living in the present with gratitude. That's why they call it a gift. And I'll never forget that. And at the time, I was a kid. I was like, yeah, right, mom, whatever. You don't know anything, right? As a kid, we're rebellious. And later on, as I wrote this book and dedicated this book and many of my books to her wisdom, it's so powerful and it's so true. You know, F the future. The future is unknown. The future is fearful. The past you can't do anything about. What you can do is live present with gratitude, practicing microscopic toothpaste, toothbrush, air conditioning, you know, all the things, the blessings that we don't see, take for granted. You step into that gratitude, you throw those boomerangs left and right, and you become a super attractor.
I love it. Well, we're about almost 15 minutes past our time, but that's okay. We can do that because we want to.
We're rich and abundant.
I just knew that would happen.
and we control it. So, you know, in the very darkest of a room, a spark can be seen. Doesn't matter how dark a room is. The dark cannot overpower even the most microscopic amount of light. You will see it.
Amen.
What you're looking for, everybody, is your spark, that thing. And that is found through all of these microscopic processes in your book. If you want to ignite your life, then do yourself a favor, buy the book. Start the practices. There's a lot of different ones in there, a lot of different tools, so you can pick and choose what's going to work for you and what you like and what you don't like. And I want to thank everybody for showing up today. And Michele, what do you have to leave everyone with?
I did want to ask you one question, James. A lot of these tools or things you've already integrated and you've been doing, but after writing the book, after putting it all together and getting it out there, and I know it's soon still because you've just put it out there, but like, what do you feel, the shift, what's the greatest shift that's come out of putting this book together for you in terms of your growth, your inner wealth, your joy from this?
Great question. So, as I said, my journey began with scrolling through TikTok. And one of the manifestation coaches said that, you know, you are the director, the creator, the writer, the actor of your own movie. You don't like your life, rewrite your script. And as I said before, I didn't believe that. The greatest takeaway that I've had through this experience in writing the book, and yes, it's only been less than a couple of months since publishing the book, and I've had overwhelming reviews and people experiencing their best life now. And it's amazing, but I realized in my journey, and I realized I'm becoming magnetic, that you do have the power to create your reality, that you are the creator, the director, you are the actor, the script writer, and you can rewrite your life to go your way. not some of the time, but most of the time. And when it does, you become magnetic and you become a super attractor. So that's the key. You are a creator, and that's the process.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's beautiful.
you.
I love that for you. I love that for everyone. What a gift, right? I mean, so encouraging, so enlightening, so through it. I wish I could be there
She was
with
so overwhelmed, she got cut off.
Just,
you.
Her magnetic energy
Woo.
messed with her
It's
frequency.
electrifying.
Well, everybody,
I love that.
I love that. Well, everybody,
Let's type in that song right now from Olivia Newton-John. I'm electrified.
Electrified. It's electrified.
I love it. You know, you guys sparked that G vibe tonight. Hi to my sister Sharon. I saw you. And to everybody who's been watching now and on the replays, if you find something that really resonated with you, please type it into the chat so that we can go back and see that. And we'll reach back out to you. Catch us next week at the same time, same places. We're in a few different places out there. And for your convenience, you can go ahead and just capture this. I'm going to go right back into the chat. James's link to his book. Everybody have a fantastic night. Thank you so much.
Share this. with
Sharing
anyone
is
you think
caring.
could benefit from this, because sharing exactly is a gift.
Share,
We
that's
talk
right.
about that a lot. You can pass it on. You know, you don't have to have money to share a gift. This is a really good gift. And then they can get something from it too. And then it's just a ripple effect, you guys. So what's the name of this show on Wednesdays called?
Wealthy
Wednesdays.
Wellness Wednesdays.
Wealthy Wellness.
Love
So
it.
you inspired the name of this show for Wednesdays,
Yes,
James. Just
totally.
saying.
Thank
Because
you.
she's like,
Love it.
let's think of a name for this Wednesday show now. I'm like, okay, what could it be?
Thank you all for watching. I'm going to go ahead and we will see you in 2 and 2. I just had to do it. I couldn't help myself.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.